Ladies and gentlemen, I hope everybody is having a wonderful Sunday. I'm going to move us over here real fast. Phil, how are you, brother?
What's going on, my man? We
Going
are
on.
here and
Yes,
we are
sir.
starting this thing finally after what seems to be like months of anticipation of what we were going to be doing with this whole entire thing. We're here, we're
Yep.
getting this started. The Hot Tag Wrestling Podcast is here. What's going on, my brother?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys are not aware, it's something that I've talked about a little bit, and I can imagine you've talked about it as well. This is the Hot Tag Wrestling Podcast, and I'm your host, and I'm joined here with my co host, my good friend, Philly Met. Phil, it is a pleasure, man. It is always a very wonderful pleasure. I see some people in the chat. We got Set in there. I also see Stu's. What's going on in there, man? I see that we have some people watching, so that's always nice. It is a wonderful Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, and I don't know if this will be our regular time that we do this every Sunday, but
Right.
I definitely we just kind of wanted to kickstart it. And obviously, we had a very interesting night last night with the Elimination Chamber, and that's obviously going to be a hot topic that we have here today. And then on top of that, we're also going to be talking about the Danhausen controversy and everything that's kind of transpired with that and how that all went down and how social media reacted to that. And obviously, we have a very stacked week ahead of us talking about, what's to come on Monday Night Raw, Dynamite, SmackDown, all over the place. We are officially onto the road to WrestleMania, but I think the first thing that we want to start off by talking about is the Elimination Chamber. It was a very interesting chamber, I would say. I think there were some interesting choices. We seen Rhea Ripley, who won her respective Elimination Chamber match, and I want to start off by asking you, Phil. Do you think that WWE pulling the trigger on Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill, do you think that that's the right decision?
Absolutely. When it came down to it, I was looking at the field of six that we had here for the women's elimination chamber, and I was really thinking outside of Bianca Belair, because
Mm.
obviously, if the world was perfect, we would have had that going. And obviously, Bianca Belair, she's still recovering from her injury, and we want nothing but the best for that in terms of the recovery. But I was looking at the field of six, and I was trying to figure out what is WWE's best course of action to get a big match for Jade Cargill that's not going to completely jeopardize anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking at it and I was like, Rhea Ripley's definitely the only way to go here. We saw that Rhea Ripley and Io Sky lost the women's tag team championships this past Friday on Friday Night SmackDown. And I had that kind of feeling and inkling that that was going to happen just so that we can get that Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill match. And that's exactly what happened. We saw that they lost and we got to the final two, which was Tiffany Stratton and Rhea Ripley. And it just ended up being Rhea Ripley to get the job done. I think that's ultimately going to be a very good match for WrestleMania. I think Rhea Ripley getting back into the world title scene is just a great way to kind of just get the ball rolling and get the spark going for WrestleMania, because let's face it, WrestleMania season hasn't really felt like WrestleMania season so far. So we gotta get things going, and Rhea Ripley getting back on top there is the best way to go in my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm actually I was, obviously we do the live watch alongs here on my channel. I know you do them on yours too, but here on my channel, one of the things that I actually predicted that they were going to go with Raquel. And the reason why I thought they were going to go with Raquel wasn't because I thought it was going to be Raquel versus Jade. I thought there was going to be a way to get Raquel into the Liv Morgan Stephanie Vaquer match, because obviously all the build and everything like that, there's certain things that WWE were pinpointing at that made it seem like Raquel had the opportunity to win this match. Now, obviously, that's not the case. My only issue and my only gripe that I have with the Rhea Ripley victory here is that Rhea Ripley, as great as she is, I just don't know if it makes sense for her to win this match. They haven't done anything with her and Jade. Are we just going to put the title back on Rhea just because it's Rhea
Right. Yeah.
Ripley? Or are we going to do it because, hey, this is a match that we've all wanted, even though we haven't done anything to do it? If you ask me, they've done more of a job at building Jade and Charlotte rather
Right. Okay.
than Jade and Rhea. So it didn't really make any sense to me why they went in the direction of Rhea. I felt like you could have almost just eliminated this chamber match and just kind of had, like I said, Raquel win, and then you have Charlotte and Jade or something like that. And granted, I want to point out that I do know, Charlotte obviously has this story with Alexa, and they're going to continue do things with that. But overall, regardless of that fact, it just did not seem like on the surface that this match made any sense to me. I love that Rhea won. Like you said, it offers some spark back into the WWE and WrestleMania and everything like that that is needed. Rhea Ripley is like a poster child for them. So
Right.
it's silly for them not to do it. But also in the same breath, we have to talk and we have to maintain continuity. And the continuity of this is as great of a match as it seems on the surface. It doesn't make any sense.
I agree with you in a sense to where at the end of the day, we really have not gotten that je ne sais quoi or build towards a match between Rhea and Jade. But the fact of the matter is, and I will say this too, Rhea Ripley getting back into the world title scene for what I believe is going to be her 5th consecutive WrestleMania ever since coming into the WWE is insane to even think about. I think when it comes down to Rhea Ripley being a part of the world title scene, it's kind of the safe choice at the end of the day, mainly because she's Rhea Ripley. She's obviously
Right.
going to get that fanfare behind her, and at the end of the day, she's mommy. She's always going to get that kind of opportunity for herself. But it's a very interesting way to go. But I think it was really kind of the only way to go. Not saying that any of the other women uh, could have done a really good job in this match, but you have Charlotte and Alexa. They got their own thing going on there. So I didn't really totally see anything there. Raquel, she was definitely a sleeper pick for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think ultimately what it comes down to is she has that stuff going on with Liv, and she is going to be doing more outside after WrestleMania with everything. Because once WrestleMania is done and maybe we see a new women's world champion in Liv Morgan, we could possibly see more detention between them. And then who knows what's going to happen with that. I think when it ultimately boils down to is for me, the two MVPs of this chamber, and I have two here because it was kind of like a tale of two chambers. With the first half of the Elimination Chamber definitely going to Kiana James. I think Kiana James absolutely killed it in this thing, at least for the first half, before she got stacked up and pinned by the second MVP in this thing to me, which was absolutely Raquel Rodriguez.
For sure.
They really did a good job at protecting her in that kind of elimination style with the dive off the post, the dive off the pod, I should say, and then the prettiest moonsault ever from Tiffany. They did a really good job with that. But overall, a solid women's elimination chamber, and I was really looking forward to seeing what WWE was doing for this chamber, considering last year's chamber was probably one of the best ones they ever produced. So really good stuff there, and I can't wait to see what they have in store, because we are like 6 weeks away from Mania, so they have stuff to build for it. Let's get it done.
Yeah, man, I'm in full agreement here. I definitely think that Kiana James was definitely like one of the standout superstars of the chamber. I think Raquel is another one. Like you said, they did a really good job at least protecting Raquel, in the sense that, this is big sexy that we're talking about. You know what I mean? She can't just go out, on her heels. No, she has to go out with some dominance. And when I say dominance, I mean dominance from others. It has to take, a dive off the top of the pod, and also a prettiest moonsault to get rid of Raquel. It kind of maintains that dominance that she offers, which is very, very, very important. I see our good friend Wilson. He's over on Twitch. He said, except for a wardrobe malfunction, he's obviously talking about Kiana James that we've all heard about. But man, I will tell you, the match itself held a lot. Like it felt like a good opening Elimination Chamber match. It did feel a little quick. I'm not sure if you
Yes,
felt the same way.
I did too.
Right,
Okay, so
yeah,
yeah,
no, it
we
did.
both
It
the same
felt
way.
very quick. I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, like, why does this feel like it lasted like 5 minutes? It felt like, oh, we're just going to continue rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling. You know what I mean? But overall, that chamber match was really good. I did enjoy it for what it was worth. And now we have to talk about what came after. After we seen Rhea Ripley pick up the victory, obviously we would kind of lead into Becky Lynch versus AJ Lee. And this was a really interesting, pairing here because a lot of people kind of suspected that, oh man, they're going to have Becky beat AJ Lee in this match and they're going to rematch at, Mania, and maybe they have AJ win at Mania. I know that's something that a lot of people talked about. Is that the way that you would have actually felt about the match, Phil? Did you feel that
Absolutely.
Becky was winning that?
Yes, 100%. Now, the thing is, I had that kind of like mindset laid out in my head because at the end of the day, you would think the bigger moment at WrestleMania would be the right way to go. But considering that AJ Lee was kind of representing Chicago in a way, she's not from there, but she lives there with CM Punk. And at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day, it was just uh it's kind of like a hometown crowd for an
For
adopted
sure.
hometown crowd.
For sure.
I really thought that we were going to be getting that bigger moment at WrestleMania, but as the match progressed and as we saw things going on between Becky and Jessica Carr, who was the referee in this thing, I just love their dynamic. I love the dynamic
Mm-hmm.
that Jessica Carr has with Becky Lynch. And
For sure.
for those that really don't know, I mean, Jessica Carr was kind of like a huge key factor and a huge pivotal point to getting Becky Lynch to where she is right now. Anything when it comes down to Becky Lynch and that Women's Intercontinental Championship, Jessica Carr is there. Like Jessica Carr is refereeing the matches where she's either defending the title
Mm-hmm.
or having just a not a random match per se, but like a non-title match or feud or anything like that, it's
Mm-hmm.
always been Jessica Carr.
Yep.
So the fact that they kind of like have that sort of tie between a referee and a talent is just a really cool thing to see.
Yeah, I feel like that's something that we haven't seen in wrestling in such a long time, you know what I mean, where the referee is really getting involved. I think Charles Robinson is probably another person that we can look
Right.
back at and be like, oh yeah, like I remember when Charles Robinson would get involved in certain things.
And they
You know,
have names now to these people. So like
correct.
it's even better for
Yeah,
that.
exactly. It's even better that these referees like they hold their names and stuff like that. I agree with you 100% here, Phil. I definitely think that, that Jessica Carr dynamic, that was something that really kind of stuck it stuck out to me. And the reason why it stuck out is again, kind of what we're talking about here is that it feels like, oh man, we never see this. You know what I mean? We
Right.
never get to see it on TV. It's something that obviously we all know that Jessica Carr has wrestled and she's been a wrestler over on Evolve and stuff like that. For anybody who maybe wasn't aware, there's a little information for you. Yes, Jessica Carr has trained as a wrestler and everything like that. So I wouldn't be shocked if eventually you see later down the line that Jessica Carr just has like this random match with
Has
Becky
enough
Lynch.
of Becky and just challenges her or something. I don't
Dude,
know.
I'm here to tell you, like, it's something that I could 1000% see happening. But the big standout here is obviously AJ Lee. AJ Lee picks
Right.
up the victory in Chicago, like you kind of said. She's kind of standing in as this is her hometown. She's there. She lives in Chicago. Obviously, once you see this happen, you get the feeling of like, oh man, this is great. You know what I mean? This is great. But a lot of the backlash that kind of fell off of this was this is a part-time champion.
Yes.
Do you feel that AJ Lee is going to fit that role of a part-time champion? Or do you think she's actually going to be on TV kind of defending this thing? You can let me know.
I think this is kind of the reason why they did it here in Chicago.
Okay.
When it comes down to when we saw AJ Lee come back into the world of WWE, we saw the contract signing, and it seemed like at the time, from what they were referencing and from what they were saying, she was going to be like a full-time performer. Obviously, that hasn't been the case. I mean, we've
Mm-hmm.
seen WrestlePalooza, we've seen Survivor Series, we've done all of that, and at the end of the day, you want to keep the AJ Lee moment special because you can call her a nostalgia act, but at the end of the day, she's just a really, really big performer in this landscape of the WWE, and they gave her the women's IC title. I think from what we are going to be getting on that road to WrestleMania heading into the 6 weeks that we have left, is that AJ Lee will be a lot more frequent now. She will be a lot more frequent now here on the road to WrestleMania, and I don't think it's going to be a long reign for her as IC champion by any means. But she will get the time to be a part of the main roster landscape for these 6 weeks, possibly dropping at WrestleMania, who knows, but we'll see in due time. And it's not like we haven't had part-time champions before. Brock Lesnar is a thing. So, I mean, it's not like we haven't had part-time champions before. It's going to be fine. And whatever WWE decides to do with her and this reign, I'm all for it.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% with you. I'm definitely all for whatever WWE decides to do with AJ Lee. I personally think that it was the right decision. I think, you can have AJ drop the championship later on at WrestleMania if that's something that, you want to do. You definitely have the option to do that. But overall, I do feel that WWE did the right thing. It's something that, we're in Chicago, man. We're in Chicago. And obviously, this kind of leads into the next thing that we see on our TV, which is no other than Pepsi Phil, right? Pepsi Phil and Finn Balor taking on one another for the World Heavyweight Championship. Now, going into this match, I'll be 1,000% transparent with you. Going into this match, I was like, oh, man, they have an opportunity to steal the show. They 1,000% can create, number one, a huge talking point out of this match.
Yeah.
Obviously, leading up, Finn Balor told the Judgment Day that he wanted to do it on his own. He doesn't want to do it with anybody coming in or getting involved. And that was kind of like the big thing leading up to this. And my thought process, I was like, oh man, Dominic Mysterio is going to get involved. Right. I for sure was already under the assumption. I was like, no doubt about it. This is the breakup of the Judgment Day. But one thing clicked to me, and I'll mention this before we dive, really big into the match itself. But one thing that really, stuck out to me at the end of this was I kind of forget, and maybe this is something that a lot of other people do as well. One of the biggest things that I tend to forget is that the Elimination Chamber happened on February 28th. Today's March 1st. We still have 6 weeks of television to build to WrestleMania.
Right.
That is a decent amount of time. And one of the biggest complaints that we've seen, throughout all of this is WWE doesn't do TV well anymore. Everything feels a little boring and stagnant. WWE needs to do these huge things at their pay-per-views. While granted, in certain cases, I agree with you. Is it 1,000% that they need to do everything at the pay-per-view? No, they do not have to. WWE can easily get away with telling 6 weeks of storytelling on Raw, NXT, SmackDown, wherever, just by, telling the stories there rather than, like my thought process, Dominic Mysterio getting involved with Finn Balor. No. Now you kind of have like this opportunity for Dom to walk up to Finn and be like, ha ha ha, told you so. Right? And you start, and Finn starts to feel that pressure of like, oh, dude, you don't think I could do it on my own? Well, I'll just take it from you. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
And I think that is something that needs to be thought about when talking about the quote unquote build to WrestleMania. I get it. It's not the Elimination Chamber from last year. You know what I mean? It doesn't have that same feel that whatever that chamber, it does not offer that. You know what I mean? You're not getting that same experience. I see Robin in the chat. He says, bring back WrestleMania 39 and 40. Sadly, we're not getting that back. But what we have is the right now. You know what I mean? And I think we need to look at the right now, because even years from now, we'll be sitting there and being like, oh, man, that build wasn't as bad as maybe we thought it was. Like last year's WrestleMania, that build, horrible. After everything fell through at the Elimination Chamber, Horrible.
Yeah.
So you have to understand that WWE has now offered a solution to you. We are going to give you a mere mid-tier elimination chamber. That way, you can't even be let down in the first place. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, the thing is, when it comes down to it, with this match in particular, the writing was already on the wall. I mean, we saw posters and billboards already plastered in Vegas about the World Heavyweight Championship being on the line, CM Punk and Roman Reigns, night 2.
Come on, dude.
Which
You
is
knew,
most likely,
you knew
which is
what
most
was
likely
going to
be the
happen.
night.
You
Right.
knew what was going to happen at this chamber. Did you stop and ask yourself a quick question? Did you really absolutely think, oh man, WWE is going to pull the trigger on Finn Balor here, and they're going to run back Finn Balor and Roman Reigns? No, that was never going to happen. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I've been toting it. I've been saying it. You guys know I'm a CM Punk stan over here. I was never, ever on board with Finn Balor. I always thought Finn Balor would make a great Intercontinental Champion in this role with the Judgment Day because, hey, that is the main story that needs to be told here. So I digress all of that. Right. Let's talk about the World Heavyweight Championship match that did take place.
This match was freaking awesome. And,
it was.
And like the thing is, I take the entire predictability aspect of the entire situation out of it and just look for what we got in the square circle between CM Punk and Finn Balor. The fact of the matter is, you knew that this match was going to be fantastic just based on the two people that we have in this thing. CM Punk putting on, honestly, a generational run right now as the World Heavyweight Champion. I'm not going to lie.
It's killing it.
I think the title defenses that this man has held for this World Heavyweight Championship run, you can put up against anybody at this point because he has done a really good job at building this prestige for that world title since he's held on to it. And Finn Balor, look, at the end of the day, I love me some Finn Balor, okay? I think Finn Balor has all the tools to be a world champion once again in the WWE. Was it going to happen here? No. But the fact of the matter is, it doesn't even matter at this point. We see Finn Balor go out there and do it on his own. He looked towards the backstage area and possibly thought that maybe we can see a Dom or JD interference, but he turns around. He probably got hit in the head or something with a kick or something of that nature. I mean, I don't remember the exact kind of sequence there, but he turned back around and he was doing it on his own. Whether he won or whether he lost, he wanted to do this on his own. And that's exactly what happened there. It's just that I personally believe, just like you, that we were going to be getting Dom. Personally, I thought both Dom and JD were going to come in there and ultimately cost him the match. But really good stuff there. The entrances alone, I knew that this match is going to be special. We got that Michael Jordan entrance and the whole Chicago Bulls type atmosphere for CM Punk, the special announcer and all that stuff. Incredible stuff.
Man,
and then
you are
not only that, but we had basic babyface Finn Balor back. The whole the NXT music, everything about it was just so good. And the predictability went out the window with this match because even though we knew Punk was winning, we got a fantastic match at the end of all of it.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'll tell you what. You're talking to a real hoop fan here. I grew up playing basketball. It's the one sport that I've always enjoyed. So I'm a person. I watched the Last Dance documentary. For anybody who has not seen that documentary, it's about Michael Jordan. It's about the Chicago Bulls. It's about Michael Jordan's story. It's come up. Definitely go check that out. But last night, talking about the entrance with CM Punk, it was a beautiful nod to Chicago. It was a beautiful nod to Michael Jordan. It was also a beautiful nod to CM Punk. Because if you noticed on the Tron, they put up all his championships like they were banners. Yes. The same way that the Chicago Bulls have won their championships and they got their banners hanging. Obviously, the person who was introducing them, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, right, but he's the person who announced Michael Jordan. They use the old music and everything like that. It's inside the United Center where the Chicago Bulls play. His gear was a nod to the Chicago Blackhawks. It was such a beautiful moment for not only a wrestling fan and myself, but also an NBA fan as well, who just really has always appreciated basketball through and through. CM Punk, man, I mean, that dude, I'll just tell you guys straight up, this man knows how they put on a entrance in the city of Chicago.
Oh yeah.
He does Chicago entrances very well.
Oh
like,
yeah.
There is a lot of thought that goes into that. And I'm not gonna take anything away from Finn Balor, the old NXT music. You see Finn Balor and CM Punk shake hands at the end of the match. I don't think Dominic Mysterio is going to be a very big fan of that. I don't think JD is going to be a big fan of that. You know what I'm saying? But overall, like, it was so special. The match itself was super good too. Like you said, CM Punk, he's going on this dominant run with this championship at what? How old is he? 46, 47? I mean,
somewhere around there. Yeah, definitely in the high.
He's in his later 40s, right? And he's going out there and putting on a dominant run. Everybody's saying that he's washed and all this and that. He's proven them wrong as WWE's World Heavyweight Champion. It's very special. And I'll tell you what, I was satisfied, like you said, pull out the, predictability of the match. The match itself was really good. It was very enjoyable. It was a lot of fun. It was just a solid wrestling match on a pay-per-view card. You know what I mean? There was no shenanigans. It was straight up. It's pro wrestling. It's everything that people who bitch about WWE bitch about. It was everything that they would have wanted in a wrestling match. It's like, oh yeah, you don't want a roll-up pin? Okay, here you go, straight up. Oh, you don't want any shenanigans? Okay, here you go, straight up. It's just two guys going out there and wrestling. And for some reason, people will still find a reason to be like, oh, this shit was mid, blah, blah, blah. It is what it is. It is what it is.
We saw great moments in this match as well. I mean, there was a spot in this thing where I don't even know how this is legitimately possible. And I would love to just talk to both Finn Balor and CM Punk on how they actually were able to get this spot going. But we see a coup de grace come out from Finn Balor.
Yep.
But he lands in between the legs of CM Punk, and somehow, some way, CM Punk was able to tie
the sharpshooter's
legs into the sharpshooter, and I was like, bro, how is that even legitimately possible? That makes no logistical sense.
Well, if you look, when CM Punk caught him, he definitely struggled getting the sharpshooter up.
Yes.
It was really funny to see. Really fast. I just kind of want to acknowledge everybody in the chat. Miles says Roy Clay Billy. So that's the name of the announcer. It's Roy Clay.
Roy Clay.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Miles.
I was actually trying to look it up while you were talking, but I was like, somebody will figure it out in chat.
That man Chester made it in. He said, "What's up, my guys, Billy and Phil? What's going on, Chester?"
Right,
I also see our boy Right Hand Cam is in the chat. I just kind of want to give acknowledgement to everybody. I see Byron in the chat. He says, waiting for a Tony Pizza Guy and Billy TKO to do a live stream together. Shout out to Tony Pizza Guy, man.
I love Tony.
Let's see who else. I also see Wilson in the chat. YHR is in the chat. Oh, Sharon's in your chat?
Yep, Sharon just came on in. What's going on, Sharon?
Oh, yep. Hey, Sharon. Hey, what's going on? I also see Henry in the chat. What's going on, Henry? How are you? So,
good stuff, guys.
Man. First off, we'll just pause for a second. Now that we know that some of our OGs are here as well. Guys, this is the Hot Tag Wrestling Podcast. We're going to be here every Sunday for your guys' pro wrestling needs. Right? Me and Phil, we're going to be here.
Absolutely.
We're going to be here. We're going to be kicking it with y'all. On top of that, me and Phil talked about potentially giving away a copy of WWE 2K26. I'm so sorry. I fumbled that a little bit.
No problem. We're literally about 5 days away at this point.
Yes. So what I'm thinking that we do is maybe at the end of the stream, we'll both put up a post, have people go comment on the post, and then our next live stream, we'll give it away to somebody. We'll order the copy for whatever system that it's on. We'll talk about that at the end of the show. But I just want to say, guys, Billy TKO here. Definitely be sure to like the stream, subscribe to the channel. Also, we have Philly Met over here. You guys be sure to go over to his channel. It's at Phil E. Met. Like and subscribe.
There you go.
Yep.
So, but yeah, guys, I mean, look, at the end of the day, the world title match, absolutely incredible. There was
Mhm.
no way, shape, or form that Balor was winning this thing.
No,
But at the end of the day, we got a great match out of it. CM Punk retains the world title, and now we have 6 weeks to build for WrestleMania as we have Roman
and
Reigns.
Roman's going to be very active.
Yes,
Oh,
very active.
Our boy Darth Bane is here as well.
Awesome. But yeah, we have 6 weeks to build for Roman and Punk. And
Mhm.
with Roman being here, like he's
Mhm.
actually going to be here for
He's
this
going to be
build,
active. He's going to be
we're,
active.
we're we're gonna be in for a wild ride. I'll just say that right now. And of course, when it comes down to Finn Balor's side of things, it's not like Finn Balor is going to be tossed to the wayside. He will have his stuff with JD. He will have his stuff with Dom, and we will see what ultimately comes out of it.
Mhm.
Finn versus Dom at WrestleMania to me is the best way to go. I don't know where JD is going to fall into the whole thing because that's also a very interesting kind of key factor you want to have in this. But we'll see where things go. And I think this is absolutely a fantastic co-main event of the show, even though personally I thought they were actually going to main event this thing.
So
But
did I.
I
I
love
figure
how they
CM
did it.
Punk in Chicago, main eventing the show. But obviously, before we jump into the main event,
Right. Yeah.
obviously there is reasons why we seen the Elimination Chamber and the main eventing. There was something that happened beforehand, and that something is the box. What's inside of the box? You guys all know the box that was being tossed around from Raw to SmackDown, from Raw to SmackDown, and then finally it was going to be opened at the Elimination Chamber, which it said it on the box to open on the 28th of February. They decided to open the box. So, what was in the box, ladies and gentlemen? Inside of the box was no other than Danhausen. Danhausen.
Ah. Dude,
And I just
freaking
want
love
to
it.
put something out there real fast. I know there's a lot of people who probably aren't familiar with Danhausen.
Right.
Danhausen was an independent wrestler. He ended up going and doing work with AEW, and he did some phenomenal stuff over there. One of the funnier callbacks that I think of is him and Ricky Starks on AEW TV, where
Right, yeah.
Ricky was cutting the promo, and he said it's going to be Ricky Starks versus
Danhausen.
for the FTW championship.
Yeah.
So Danhausen is obviously a comedic character. There's no denying that. One thing that I have stressed, and I've talked about it with everybody who I talked to about pro wrestling. The one thing that I felt AEW kind of messed up with Danhausen is Danhausen, he's known for the curse, right? The curse is such an important factor to the Danhausen character. WWE, with bringing in Danhausen, they have to make the curse mean something. It can't just be, oh, you get cursed and nothing happens. No. Once the curse occurs, something has to happen.
I agree.
Do you know what I mean?
I agree 100%.
It has to offer something. Like somebody, if you get cursed, you need to go like through this downward spiral, whatever the case. The curse has to mean something from Danhausen. Danhausen can't walk into the company and you can't just sign him just because, oh, we want another person on our roster. Obviously, WWE can do whatever the hell they want to. But the truth of the matter here is it wouldn't make any sense for WWE to bring in a guy like Danhausen without letting that mean something. That is his whole stick. The curse is everything to Danhausen. So WWE, they bring in Danhausen. They bring him in at the Elimination Chamber. His introduction, his entrance, and everything like that was awesome. We seen, what did they call him? The Danhausen girls. What did they call him?
They were doing like the ghouls or something like that.
Yeah,
Like,
it was something like that. So
we'll get more info
right.
as we see him here.
So Danhausen, he gets brought in. The entrance is amazing and stuff like that. But a lot of people, and this is where we're going to talk a little bit about the controversy of it.
Yeah.
A lot of people felt let down, and you heard it in the audience. The audience definitely booed during this segment. With that being said, there was a lot of controversy that came out on the internet of people feeling like they were let down, things of that nature. I want to get your thoughts on it, Phil. How did you feel about this whole Danhausen situation, the booze, everything like that? Give me your thoughts, man.
Congratulations. You played yourself. The fact of the matter is, when it comes down to it, people were just putting their expectations way too high for this thing. When it comes down to it, and the rumors were running rampant about Danhausen coming to the WWE, I knew what I was getting myself into.
Correct.
I knew what I was getting myself into because I've seen Danhausen, I've seen Danhausen's work, and I know what he is ultimately all about. Now, for those that haven't seen him, I understand to a point where you guys are coming from, because the box was this big thing that WWE was pushing out on their programming for the better part of the last few weeks. And of course, when it comes down to what's in the box, the mystery component that's happening on WWE programming, WWE is setting you up for a reveal that should, in your eyes, absolutely deliver in all aspects. Now, whether you like Danhausen or whether you don't, that is completely up to you. Danhausen is not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and that is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to it, if you had the expectations that I did, not knowing just because of Danhausen coming into the WWE, but just because of how WWE kind of does these mystery things, you see the writing on the wall. And as long as you have your expectations a little bit lower than what you ultimately would think, that sky high, you're going to be okay at the end of the day. And that's how I felt. I think they kind of just overblown the expectations of this thing out of the water. I thought the presentation of everything was kind of really cool to see.
Yeah.
With the two general managers coming on in there with the crowbars, they took it out, the casket, they opened it up, the dancers, and then Danhausen coming out there. It was just a really cool way to go about it. The music fits him to a freaking T.
Yeah, it does.
I don't. I'm praying that that's not that's not Def Rebel, because if it is,
he said, I don't want them to do good.
No, that's the thing. If this is Def Rebel, they actually did something good for once, and I don't want to praise them because they're normally terrible.
Yeah, they suck.
but I mean, the presentation was top notch. The music was to a T. He goes down the ramp cursing people and all that stuff. He gives Michael Cole a jar of teeth. Which,
man,
again, the thing is, if you're a Danhausen lore kind of fanatic like Billy and I are, the teeth is been a thing for him
a long time,
for his entire time. So, I mean, it's a very, very interesting thing there. And then he does a little bit more cursing on his way down to the ring. The lights go out, and there he goes. He's gone. I think what it ultimately boils down to when it comes down to the booze, it's an interesting choice, because we all know he's not from Chicago by any means, but he's friends with CM Punk. He was pretty much a mainstay in the world of Chicago for ever since he was a part of AEW, because quite frankly, AEW almost lived in Chicago for the majority of the time. So, I mean, he was utilized in Chicago very well during the times of AEW. They didn't really capitalize on the full extent of what Danhausen can be, but WWE will. WWE will fully extend what Danhausen can be. There's always a there's always a time and place for characters like this to be in the world of wrestling. And they're just going to take Danhausen, put him up to 100, and see where things go. I do not see a problem with this.
No, I mean, here's the thing. If you went into this thinking that Danhausen was going to be any type of world champion in the WWE, it's not going to happen. And, you know, that's just setting the bar way too fucking high. That is, whoa, brother. You think that Danhausen's about to walk in here and win a world? No, it's not going to happen. But the truth of the matter is he helps the roster. He makes things a little more interesting. He makes things a little more fun. You know, obviously, Phil mentioned, you know, his relationship with CM Punk. You know, that's a real relationship, and you can do something with that. You know, WWE has an opportunity to do some, really cool things here with Danhausen. And, the biggest thing is that there was just so much controversy around it. So many people were like, oh man, like I can't get behind this, blah, blah, blah. We found out today, actually, that Danhausen actually signed a multi-year deal with WWE, and it does look like he is going to be with the company for quite some time. It was also reported, I know Miles put it in the chat, that Danhausen was actually, at least this is what's being reported, suspected to come into WWE back in July. They wanted him. Tony Khan actually extended the contract. Here's the thing, and this is not a AEW slander channel. I'm just going to put that out there right now. We're not going to be slandering AEW. Here's the sad reality that a lot of people don't want to face is because right now we're kind of seeing the same thing with Chris Jericho, right? That's why a lot of people are let down because they were expecting Chris Jericho last night. The truth of the matter is that Tony Khan is a businessman at the end of the day, and if he can prevent his talent from going to the opposition, he's going to do that.
Yeah.
That is the sad reality of business. That's how it works. Is it a shitty thing to do? Sure. If you extend a contract due to injury or whatever, regardless of the fact that person signed a contract, it's in their clause. It's something that you just have to face. You know what I mean? You face the music. But Danhausen was obviously, let go from his contract. He's good now. He's in the WWE. I think he's going to do some tremendous stuff. He's there for a little while. He's got this multi-year deal with him. He's very enjoyable. If you know anything about the real person behind the Danhausen face paint, he's a really good dude all around. So, just want to see him succeed, man. I'm super excited for it.
And the thing is, he's a merch seller. He's a really big merch seller. If you guys look in the annals of what his time was in AEW, and this is public record, okay? He was selling more merch than CM Punk.
Mm-hmm.
Take that in for a second. Danhausen. Danhausen, the character of what we see right now in the world of WWE, sold more t-shirts, sold more merch than CM Punk.
Correct.
That's wild to me. And, when it comes down to it, they see kind of like the cash cow that Danhausen could possibly be for the WWE.
For sure.
And they're going to capitalize on this. I mean,
correct.
Who wouldn't?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's going to be great. They just put out his merch last night, didn't they?
Yes.
Yes. His merch is out. So if you don't think that that's going to be a seller, you're crazy. But, I understand people's frustration with it. I think people have the right to be frustrated or anything like that. It is what it is. Here's the truth to the reality. I can understand criticism. I think criticism is fair. I think people are allowed to criticize how the debut happened, but I will not be accepting any type of Danhausen slander. It's not on my accord, brother. It's not going to happen.
Especially if you don't know him.
Correct. I'm just not. It's not going to happen at all. I rock with Danhausen way too much for any type of slander.
And here's the thing. Both and for any of the new listeners that are going to be coming on into this thing, both of us are Danhausen fans here. So, I mean, you're not going to get like any kind of like, you're not going to get like any kind of slander from us in any way, shape, or form because we like the guy. We know what he is about. We know the kind of character that he brings to the table.
Yep.
And he's going to be a good hand for the WWE. And at the end of the day, being a good hand is not like, it's not a bad thing. Like you don't have to take like just being a good hand as like a downgrade to whatever you're going to be doing in your pro wrestling career. He's a good guy. He knows what he brings to the table. And at the end of the day, they won't have to use R-Truth all the time for the funny bits. They can do stuff with Danhausen and still make things work. So overall,
you also have to remember, and I know some people are going to be pissed about this. Big news, big news. WWE stands for World Wrestling Entertainment.
Yes.
Just want to put that out there. And I just want you to know that there is still going, even if Triple H is your guy, there's still going to be entertainment factors to this. I just want to put that out there. I know people fail to realize that sometime because they want WWE to be this hard-hitting New Japan Pro type wrestling show. That's not the case. Bearer of bad news for everybody. It's an entertainment company. It's always going to be an entertainment company. it is what it is at the end of the day. But now I think it's a good time for us to lead into what happened after, which is the main event, the actual Elimination Chamber match.
How do you want to tackle this? Because
So
there was a lot that went on here.
So okay, let's start off. Let's start off with the contestants. We had Javon Evans inside of the match. We had Logan Paul inside of the match. We also had LA Knight inside of the match. We had Cody Rhodes. We had Randy Orton, and I'm missing one. Who was
Trick
the last?
Williams.
Trick Williams. Thank you.
Or Javon Williams when it came down to
Javon Williams. Right. Yeah, I know.
Mark Nash.
So we have these 6 competitors inside of this match. We do know that Jey Uso was originally supposed to be slated in this match, but on Friday Night SmackDown, he was taken out of the match, and that's a different conversation for a different time. But we do know that Jey Uso was taken out, so Jacob Fatu had entered himself into a qualifier match with Logan Paul on Friday Night SmackDown, which everybody for sure thought, oh man, Jacob Fatu is going to win this thing.
I did.
That apparently was not the
I did.
Yeah, that was not the case, and we ended up seeing Logan Paul pick up the victory and entering inside of the chamber. Now, this chamber was really fucking interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of people still, myself even included in this, LA Knight should win this thing. Fucking, that's my bad. That's my bad. That's on me. I'll take that.
Why'd you go into there, dude?
I'll take that. Did I hurt my own feelings? 1000%. It is what it is. LA Knight, he gets eliminated out of the match. I want to say he was the first person Javon was the first person eliminated.
Which is another crazy thing to do.
Correct.
So
because here's the thing, right? If you didn't have Kiana James get eliminated first in her match, there is no reason why Javon Evans should be eliminated first in this match.
Yeah. I'll just say this right here, right now. The men's elimination chamber match to me was definitely, I don't want to say interesting, because obviously it's kind of just a foregone conclusion about what we all thought was going to happen. Everybody and their mother picked Cody Rhodes for this thing.
For sure. Everybody. Oh yeah.
The thing is,
I picked LA Knight.
I picked Randy. I somehow got that right. And the thing is, like, when it came down to it, for me, in my eyes, I just thought it was way too easy to go with the Cody Rhodes victory, because Cody Rhodes, he's freaking Cody Rhodes. He can go into any WWE championship match literally tomorrow if you wanted to. It's Wednesday Night Dynamite tomorrow. We could possibly see a WWE title match on a freaking Wednesday Night Dynamite because Cody Rhodes
said so, and
Cody
he wants
Rhodes
it to happen.
Cody Rhodes, right? So I mean, at the end of the day, it was a very easy choice to go with Cody. I picked Randy because Randy, at the end of the day, he's been doing some good things at the end of all of this. He's in that world title picture. He wants number 15, and he's kind of just been involved in the mix with Cody and obviously with Drew. And we'll see where things go. I think it was a very interesting choice to go with Logan Paul eliminating half the field of this thing.
Logan was having a fucking field day in this chamber.
He was going insane. He eliminated half the field. He
hit that pulverizer on Javon. Dude, I got really worried immediately when I seen Javon kind of holding his neck. I was man,
they
that
were
didn't
definitely
look
checking
good.
up on him after that.
For sure, because dude, the way he landed, I was like, that is not good. So for anybody who doesn't know, Logan Paul was hitting the pulverizer on Javon Evans. That's how Javon got eliminated.
Yeah.
And he landed kind of harsh on his neck. It did not look good. It didn't look like Javon had gotten all the way around in the move. Like he didn't flip all the way around. And I also seen a lot of people kind of giving shit to Logan Paul. And I just want to say, like, I don't know how much of Logan Paul's fault that is.
No, the thing is, the pulverizer is a very complex move to take.
For sure.
And it's literally a flipping pile, like a flipping DDT pile driver like maneuver.
Correct.
So if you're not taking that on a normal basis, and the fact of the matter is, we all know that Logan Paul is used very sparingly because you want to keep his appearances special.
For sure.
It's a very interesting just move to take. So I don't fault anybody in this at all.
I don't either.
I don't fault Javon, and I definitely don't even fault
Logan Paul
in this.
Yeah, it's a move that happened. Accidents happen. Welcome to the world of pro wrestling.
Yes, and but the thing is, I love that Javon started this thing. I love that he started this thing with Cody, because you get him acclimated, first of all, to the chamber right out the gate. Because I mean, you're one of the people that lasted the longest time in this thing. You're starting until you get to the elimination, and Logan Paul, though, eliminating half the field was just a really weird choice in my eyes, because I didn't think that this was going to happen. Now, do I think that this is ultimately going to be set up for a Bronson Reed or a Braun Breaker?
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. Because if it weren't for any of those pivots because of the injuries,
we would have never even had Logan in this match.
This field.
Yeah, we wouldn't even have had Logan in this match. So you kind of get like a sight of what it would have looked like if Bronson was in this match, or for say, Braun Breaker was in this match. Yeah. You would have had an idea of what was going to happen. In my personal belief, I definitely believe that this was actually held for Braun Breaker. Yeah. Because I think with Seth Rollins kind of getting involved, for anybody who doesn't know, Seth Rollins did return last night. He was revealed as the masked man. And he ended up attacking Logan Paul. Now, that's why I feel like this spot was actually slated probably for somebody like Braun Breaker.
It was going to be for Braun, but because of his hernia injury, they had to reshuffle. So they were going to give it to the next guy up in Bronson Reed. And because of his injury, which again is just so freaking unfortunate for this group, they went with Jey Uso, because Jey Uso won the qualifier because of the injury.
Right.
And they're like, look, we can't have Jey Uso in this match. We have a plan for this masked man to be revealed. So we'll take him out. We'll put Logan in.
Yep.
And it's still division. So we'll get the masked man. We'll get him revealed, and we'll have that match for WrestleMania. Some way, shape, or freaking form. They are going to make this match happen. And sometimes that's the WWE's own fault.
Yeah.
They have a plan and they want to stick with it, but sometimes
things happen.
Bugs bite them.
So I know Miles, he put in the chat, he said, not sure if you know Billy and Phil, but this was pointed out to me recently. Logan Paul in the chamber was the right call, because Logan cost Seth the chamber last year, which makes sense. Seth cost Logan. Wasn't it 23 that he cost him?
I believe it was 23.
Yeah.
Some sort of like long.
It was their match before WrestleMania 39. Right. Yeah. I mean, that's the kind of the thing here, is you have the opportunity to kind of tell that long-term storytelling. I don't know how much I personally care for Logan Paul and Seth Rollins at WrestleMania again. I don't know if it's something that I want to get behind or anything like that. But
if they go into that detail, and if they do everything that and if they want to tell that story, everything from 23 or from WrestleMania 39, go into that. Because honestly, fans are forgetful. Let's just be real. We don't unless you're like a diehard fan like that, you don't remember that stuff. So go into the detail, and maybe, just maybe, you can kind of build intrigue for this thing. But like you, I'm kind of not really. It's a downer, because at the end of the day, it was going to be Bronson Reed, and it was going to be Braun Breaker. So
correct. I think the match that wanted to be made here was Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins. We're obviously not going to get it. I thought, in my personal opinion, you could have maybe held off on the Seth Rollins reveal until Braun Breaker. That way it feels a little more special. Seth Rollins coming back at the time that he chose, it feels like WWE just getting Seth Rollins for WrestleMania because, hey, we need Seth Rollins. I get it on in that standpoint of like, hey, it's okay. We need Seth Rollins here. Truth of the matter is like, I wish they would have waited until Braun Breaker. That way this story could have actually meant something, because now it feels a little meaningless. There was so much talk when this whole thing first happened with like Austin Theory and how he's the potential spy for Seth Rollins, and now
Yes.
there's going to be nothing of that statue at all, and that kind of sucks. I just wish WWE maybe would have just waited for somebody like Seth Rollins, even though I am well aware that that's probably not like the best thing to do because of it being WrestleMania season. But him just going out and having a filler match with like Logan Paul again just doesn't really intrigue me. Maybe the way it did, 3 years ago.
Right.
It doesn't offer that kind of intrigue. But
the thing is, like, we needed this masked man to be revealed one way or another. And the thing is, now that WWE is solely out of like the mystery components within their WWE programming, I want WWE and I pray and I need WWE to just get the ball rolling with this thing.
Yeah.
We have everything set forth now for this. Okay. Seth Rollins is back. Logan Paul is here. It's not the best thing to do by any stretch of the imagination, but we have something here now.
Correct.
The masked man situation is done. It's over with. Your facades that you had literally 24 hours and even at the event itself, they didn't land. Okay? They didn't land. They were never going to land, even if they are Seth Rollins' students from his school, which is a nice aspect and it gives those kids a chance. But there were never going to be anything special for it.
No, I mean, that's the sad truth.
And I don't even understand why they even did that in the first place, because you didn't really need it. You didn't need it. If anything, if you were going to do this masked man thing on Friday Night SmackDown, I thought you were going to be doing that to ultimately cost Logan Paul his spot in the Elimination Chamber. Now, obviously, you get what you get there. And it made a lot more sense than what I ultimately thought about it at first. But
yeah,
the fact of the matter is, it's just a weird situation that we got here with this whole masked man division thing. And I just want WWE to win at the end of the day, because they just can't catch a break right now, and it's so sad to see, but we'll see.
Yeah, the injury bug's definitely caught up to WWE. It feels like they faked that injury with Seth Rollins so long ago, and it finally caught up to him. Karma is a bad motherfucker, man.
Don't do that again, because
don't do that dumb shit. Don't do that dumb shit no more. But regardless of that being said, I just kind of want to talk to the chat for a second. I see our boy Anthony. Anthony says, shout out to my pup's second birthday. Chilling at the dog park, listening to you guys. Sunday fun day. Shout out to your pup. Hey, pup, we said happy birthday. Sharon says, bring back Karrion Kross. That'd be interesting. Miles also says, I agree with you both. It would only mean more if they explain the costing history, but it's kind of a major blow. Correct. Yeah, that's what it feels like.
I want to get into the finish of this thing now.
Yeah,
because
for sure.
The finish of this was crazy. I mean,
sure.
the whole masked man was a part of the last 5 minutes of this thing.
Yeah, we're gonna dive into that here momentarily. Discuss World says Logan versus Seth at Mania again. Meh. I agree. He said Logan and Javon though. Correct. I agree with that statement a lot.
That would be cool. Yeah.
And then we also have Chester. He says, do you both think Seth and Knight versus Logan and Austin makes sense for a Mania match? There was rumors about Bad Bunny tagging with Seth against Logan and Austin. Unfortunately, he got tore until July. I don't want to see LA Knight and Seth tagging.
The thing is, I see where you're coming from. I see the vision of what you're trying to do. No pun intended. Pun intended. But I see what you're trying to do with that, and getting Austin Theory in a match at WrestleMania. That's cool. But the first masked man didn't do anything wonders for me with Austin Theory. Nope. He's been the fall guy, and if anything, he would be the fall guy here. So, no, I don't want that.
Sadly, Austin kind of takes the fall here. We also have Hava. He says, are you ready for WWE 2K26 to come out? Yes, I believe.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I believe both me and Phil are very ready. Edgar says, I'm not going to lie. I thought this PLE was poop. That's fair, brother. You're allowed to think that.
Yeah.
But now I think it's a great opportunity for us to dive into what actually transpired at the end. I know Phil was ready to talk about this. The ending The ending was very, very interesting because WWE apparently just does not care about safety protocol, and they left the gate wide open after Trick was being released. They just left the shit open. Seth Rollins kind of made his way through. He just kind of snuck in, and then following that, here comes fucking Drew McIntyre.
Yeah. I'm like, hello, the door is wide open.
Why the hell is the door open?
But look, we all like it all ties back to the whole masked man situation anyway, because the masked man situation kind of started off this entire like shenanigans of the last 5 minutes. You had the facade climbing up the cage for some strange reason, because I mean, at the end of the day, there's a roof on top, so it's not like you can get in there by any means. So he was just climbing, just to climb, having a good time. He was a monkey, and
he was used as a distraction.
And to get him down, they unmask him.
Some random ass dude again.
Right. So then you see Seth Rollins sneak on in there, hit the stomp, and that's how Logan Paul gets eliminated. And we're down to Cody and Randy. We're about to get ready for Cody and Randy, which is a match that myself, probably Billy, and many others have been wanting ever since Cody came back to WWE. But then as soon as Cody gets on his feet, Drew McIntyre shows up, hits him in the back of the head, focuses the attack on Cody. But Randy Orton does what Randy Orton wants to do, and he takes advantage, hits the RKO, and wins the damn thing. So let's
talk about it. You know, obviously everybody remembers that Cody and Randy did have a match at the King of the Ring. What was it, in 2024 or 2025? I can't remember.
I think 24.
Yeah, it might have been 24. But they had a match at the King of the Ring, and Randy Orton struggled. He didn't pull the trigger, which is, if you guys keep up with SmackDown, for instance, Aleister Black and Randy have kind of had some segments on TV where it looks like Aleister Black is trying to find that old Randy Orton. He's trying to get that old Randy Orton, that 2009 Randy Orton that we all remember and we all loved. It looks like WWE, it looked like Aleister Black was trying to, kind of pull that out of him. Well, Aleister Black had made some mentions of Randy Orton not being able to get things done and not being able to pull the trigger or being afraid to pull the trigger. And last night, like Phil said, we seen Drew McIntyre get involved, hit Cody Rhodes, and then Cody Rhodes out of nowhere hits the crossroads on Drew after Randy hit the RKO. And obviously that leaves Cody very distracted.
25.
It was 25. Okay.
Yeah, it was 25.
So it leaves Cody very distracted. And immediately, it's not even a thought. It didn't even look like a thought. Randy hits the RKO on Cody Rhodes, and Randy Orton is heading to WrestleMania to face Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. Now, one thing I want to note is that there hasn't actually been any kind of like poster made or anything like that for Drew and Randy, and I'm going to tell you guys why now. The reason why that is this Friday, it was announced on the WWE post show, the Elimination Chamber post show, that we are going to be getting Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. Now, there's a lot of thought process that goes into this. I will give my thoughts, and then Phil, I'll let you go. My thought process here. I know a lot of people have suspected, WWE is going to do this fatal four-way match. It's going to be Drew. It's going to be Jacob. It's going to be Cody. It's going to be Randy. I do not think that is the case anymore. I think WWE, because in the beginning of the stream, if everybody remembers, we talked about how WWE they still have 6 weeks of television.
Right.
It's a long fucking time. I think what is going to happen is it's going to be the thing that maybe people don't want to see happen. Cody's going to win back that championship. In my personal opinion.
Okay, I see where you're going already.
Cody is going to win back the championship. It is going to be Cody versus Randy in the main event of night one. Because that's the match. That is the match. Face versus face, face versus heel, heel versus heel. It doesn't matter. That match will sell. The
Right.
history is there. The history is there, right? Everything that you need for a main event to sell is inside Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. I know people are going to ask the question about Jacob and Drew. We do remember that Drew said, hey, I'm the one who attacked Jacob. He made it clear. He said it. With that being said, I think you get Jacob versus Drew at Mania. That's a good match. I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
I'd be fine with that.
Okay.
The match itself between Randy and Cody excites me more than Randy, Drew, Cody, and Jacob.
In the 4-way.
The Fatal 4-way, as a watcher, as a person who watched, it doesn't excite me for WrestleMania. If you wanted to do something like that at Backlash or, at another PLE, sure. Not a problem whatsoever. Count me in. I'm all for it. There's too much history. There's too much rich history with Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton to not have Cody win back this championship. Because here's the thing. Cody's got to get to Mania.
Yeah.
What are we going to do? Are we about to watch Cody go down like this other, like, oh, man, Cody's struggling. We just watched that.
Yeah. The adversity thing for Cody is not a thing anymore.
Yeah, he doesn't have adversity anymore. Give him the championship. I know people want to see heel Randy. I think you get heel Cody before you get heel Randy. That's just my thought process. But regardless of that fact, I think that is the match to make for Mania. And I think that you see Cody win back the WWE Championship. So, Phil, floor is yours. Go ahead.
You did pretty much sell me on Cody versus Randy at WrestleMania, because at the end of the day, I've been wanting that match ever since Cody came back to the WWE. And when we saw the WrestleMania 40 moment happen where Cody won the championship the first time, it was Randy Orton and Sami Zayn hoisting him up in that moment. Now,
correct.
The thing is, ultimately, Sami Zayn, it sucks. I don't think he's going to be anywhere involved in any of this, which I literally have no idea what he would be doing at WrestleMania at that point. Maybe Trick Williams, considering they've had that issue between those two over the course of the last couple of weeks. But Cody and Randy definitely have that history in order to build to a WWE Championship match that is important. We know that. The Fatal 4-Way, though, which is something that I've been throwing around, is also a very interesting thing for me, only because it gets everybody involved here. The WWE Championship match this Friday is going to be a very interesting match
for sure
in and of itself. But the fact of the matter is, Jacob Fatu wants to get his hands on Drew McIntyre.
Correct, and I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, Jacob Fatu wants to get his hands on Drew McIntyre, which is a reason why I truly believe that if WWE does not want to do Randy versus Cody now, which is a very interesting aspect in and of itself, because when is the right time in their eyes? Like, when do they really think is the right time to pull it? If they don't want to do it now, Jacob Fatu interferes in the WWE Championship match. Cody Rhodes gets screwed out of the title again, goes to Nagata saying, look, you gave me this match. You gave me this match out of everything that's happened inside the chamber. You gave me this match here. So the fact that Jacob screwed me, give me another shot. And he'll be like, all right, look, at the end of the day, I'll take it under advisement and all this stuff. You're going to take it under advisement to a point to where you just can't control these four men anymore.
Correct.
And the Fatal 4-Way could happen. So that's where I ultimately think it can go. But Randy versus Cody, it's obviously not a bad plan B either, if you want to do that too.
Yeah, I mean, here's the truth in my thought process. The truth of the matter is I think it, I understand where people are coming from with the Fatal 4-Way match. It doesn't, if WWE does go that direction, it obviously makes sense and it's not the worst thing in the world. But I think WWE is so sold on having like huge marquee matches now, rather than, like a triple threat or Fatal 4-Way main event. I don't think WWE wants to go that direction anymore. I don't think Drew and Randy is as exciting as maybe people want to be. or WWE is just, probably not the smartest and they choose to go in the Drew and Randy direction alone, which I think that would be the dumbest shit on planet Earth, if you want me to
One
be
way
quite
or
honest.
another, it's not Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton at WrestleMania. It's
No,
either
I'm just gonna.
it's a mixed match or something, or a completely different match
Correct.
entirely.
Correct. Exactly. And like I said, I've seen some people on the internet kind of floating around like the idea of like, oh man, WWE needing to play like hot potato with these championships. And like, that's what made like the ruthless aggression era so good, is that, WWE was so good with playing the hot potato with the championship and making it mean something. That can be an opportunity. This can be an opportunity for WWE to do that, kind of play hot potato with the championship. You gave it to Drew. He had a run. He got to win it in front of fans. It was nice. He had the match at the Royal Rumble against Sami Zayn. That was fun. But ultimately Jacob Fatu just got the better of him. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then you have Randy and Cody, and then Randy can win the title. Like there's so many different like obstacles and variables that WWE can kind of take into with this match, and they can do a lot of cool things. My hope here is that, no matter what match it is, just make sure the fucking build is good.
Right.
I don't care if it's the fatal 4-way. I don't care if it's the single. Please make sure that the build is good. I do think that Randy and Cody by themselves would have a better build than all four of them. It doesn't feel so jumbled in. You know what I mean? And also it kind of allows SmackDown to have like a co-main event, kind of feel with Jacob and Drew.
And it's a main event that feels, look, at the end of the day, Punk and Roman being Raw's main event for WrestleMania is obviously a big fight feel, and it's going to be huge. But Randy and Cody, you take a look at the history that those two have, and you take a look at the history that Punk and Roman have. To me, if you really want to think about it, and this might be a little bit like of an interesting take here, it's right on that level. In terms of the in terms of the heat that those two can garner, and just the history between those two, it's like neck and neck.
For sure.
So I mean, you got a great main event between Cody and Randy.
Correct.
One way or another.
You really do. But man, we've been on here for an hour 15. Hour 15. Phil, we finally did the thing, brother.
I know we did. It was
great. We did the fucking thing.
I think this is a really cool way to do things right out the gate. Mainly because, I mean, with these 6 weeks that we have to WrestleMania, WWE has to kick things in gear. They have to, and we have good building blocks right here, right now for this.
Yep.
But it's up to WWE to capitalize on what they have here and really make it special, because WrestleMania should feel special. I want WWE to intrigue me. I want WWE to pull me in, make me feel like this is WrestleMania season, because this should be the time you do it. Let's see if they can get it done.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm right there with you. Definitely want to see WWE kind of take the ball and run with it. They have the opportunity to do so now. Obviously, we have, like you said, 6 weeks up until WrestleMania. There's a lot of TV left. There's a lot of time to get things going. Obviously, they made that WWE Championship match for this Friday. That's going to be very interesting to see. I believe that we're going to have Roman on Raw tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. I do.
Danhausen's also apparently going to be on Raw.
Danhausen is also going to be on Raw for anybody who maybe wants to be entertained and go learn about Danhausen. There's your opportunity. But man, the Hot Tag Wrestling podcast, man, it's something that Phil and I had kind of been talking about for a little while. It's something that we wanted to do. It will be a weekly thing, so we'll be live weekly every Sunday. Now we're going to figure out a time slot that works best for the both of us. Yeah. And like I said, I don't think that this will be like the standalone time that we go live at. We just kind of wanted to get the first episode out and just, stop saying, oh, we're going to do it, and just go ahead and do it. Right. And we did that today. We did that. So, guys, my name is Billy TKO. If you guys can do me a favor and hit that like button, and also be sure to subscribe. And I also need everybody, and I mean everybody, to go check out this man, Philly Met. He makes some awesome wrestling content. So his channel is at Phil E. Met. And that's OUIMETTE for anybody who is not aware. Definitely go check him out, man. He's on TikTok. He's all over the place. And yeah, we will be back on next Sunday. And I can imagine, Phil, you'll have a bunch of videos up throughout of the week
Oh
as
yeah,
well. Yeah.
we got the watch alongs going
Hmm.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Um, before the WWE Championship match takes place on Friday, I want to get a video out there. Before that, I want to get a video out there on Thursday, just talking about that whole entire situation.
Fair.
Because I mean, we talked about it here, but I want to get a little bit more in detail about the Fatal 4-Way situation, about Randy and Cody. There's a lot of things that can happen just out of that WWE title match alone. So I think you could just make a whole video on that. And we'll see what wrestling brings to us
Hmm.
in the matter of weeks. But I feel like this was a great, great way to kick things off. And
It was.
only up from here, brother. Only up from
Only
here.
up from here. So, guys, we appreciate everybody tuning in. We're going to go ahead and call it a stream. We will see you guys next Sunday. And yeah, man, we'll be here. Much love to all of you guys, and we'll talk to you in the next one.